Hi BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my March 2020 TBR. Say it with me, everybody. It's TBR time! Yay! For those of you who might be new to my channel, I've gotten some new subscribers lately, so hello and welcome. That's a thing I do. It's my shtick, if you will. I love, love, love doing my TBR every month. And this month was a little bit extra special because, again, for those of you who've been watching for a while, you'll know, I, every month for the past 4 years, this is year number 5, I have been participating in the Romance Readers Reading Group Challenge on Goodreads. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. Essentially what they do is they give you 10 prompts every month, or 10 prompts, and then you need to find books to fit those prompts. Well, this month I actually am hosting the challenge. So, like I said, I will leave a link to it below. I encourage you to join. You do not have to read 10 books. You can read 1, 3, 5, however many you feel comfortable reading. I will get to that at the end, but I just wanted to give that kind of a little shout out right here at the beginning because it makes me super happy. And it was harder than I anticipated, to be honest, but really fun too, trying to be creative and coming up with these different prompts and stuff. So let's get into my TBR. So first of all, I will start out with the NetGalley books that I plan on reading this month. And there are 5 of them that are coming out in March that I'm super looking forward to. The first one is From Alaska with Love by Allie James. This book comes out on March the 3rd. I cannot wait to read this one. When I was approved for this one, I got super excited. It's not an author at all that I'm familiar with, but the cover is just delightful, and it takes place in Alaska, which is like catnip to me. I absolutely cannot wait to read that one. The next one is Undercover Bromance by Lyssa Kay Adams. So this one I will be honest and say I'm a little bit nervous about because last month in February I buddy read the Bromance Book Club with my friend Rainy over at Rainy Day Reads. And while both of us enjoyed the book, we really had a problem with the main character's sister. And in this story, that sister is the female lead. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to think about it with her being the female lead, but what I think might win it over for me is the fact that, so in the first novel, the story, the series, if you're unfamiliar with it, and I felt like I was the last person on earth to read that first book, that it is about a group of guys who read romance novels to learn how to take better care of the ladies in their lives, their girlfriends or wives or what have you. So in the first book, they read a historical romance novel. And in this one, they are reading a romantic suspense, which makes me super happy because it's also March Mystery Madness this month. So it's going to be kind of fun to tie those two things together. And I'm very much looking forward to this one. Next up, I was so thrilled when I was approved for this one on NetGalley. The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. This one comes out on March 24th. Oh, the Undercover Bromance comes out on March the 10th. So the Honey Don't List, excuse me. I believe it takes place like in a HGTV kind of a reality show about 2 people who don't work on the show but are like assistants to the people who work on the show. And I guess there's going to be a romance, and it sounds delightful. I read last year, I read a number of Christina Lauren last year. I read The Unhoneymooners, which I think what came out as being my favorite book of the year. I also read from NetGalley Twice in a Blue Moon, which I honestly have to admit I didn't love. So I'm hopeful that this one is going to be good. That maybe Twice in a Blue Moon just happened to be a dud, but I am very much looking forward to this one. Next up, I was so thrilled when I saw this one come up. I actually saw it ahead of time from the author because I follow her on Instagram, and she is fast becoming a favorite author of mine. She's a UK author, and this book is called A Cat Called Cupid by Tilly Tennant, and you can hear my cat in the background crying. I do apologize if you can hear him. He's just whining for the sake of whining. This one comes out March 26th, and I believe it's about a woman who runs a wedding planning business, and I don't remember what the guy does, but it's a cat that ends up bringing them together, and it sounds delightful because the cat is an outdoor cat, and both of the people think the cat is theirs. Like the cat will come over to her house and spend the day, and then the next day be over at his house or something like that. But neither one knows that the cat is going somewhere else. They just think he's hanging out outside. And then somehow it brings them together. It just sounds so utterly delightful. You guys know I love cats, clearly, and I cannot wait to read this one. And last but not least, round it out, let's get a good historical romance in here, is The Most Eligible Lord in London. And I believe this is by, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I didn't put the author down. The author's name will be on the book. I feel so horrible. I'm so sorry. But this one comes out March 31st. It's the first book, I think, in the Lords of London series. And I believe, though, it is a historical romance author that I have not read before. So I'm super, super excited about reading it. The cover is gorgeous. And I can't believe I forgot the name of the author. But like I said, the cover will be up here, so you guys will be able to see it. So I cannot wait for that one. After that, I have my Stacking the Series challenge, which is a challenge, a year-long challenge that I am hosting and, of course, participating in. I will leave a link to it as well in the description box below. It's over on my Goodreads group. And essentially, it is kind of what it sounds like, is that you pick a bunch of series that you'd like to work your way through this year. You don't necessarily have to finish them, but to get, a chunk maybe read out of them. And you pick levels. So you pick, a single book from one series. You pick 2 books from another series, 3 books from another series, and so on and so forth. I'm doing 8 levels, so up to 8 books in a single series. And I'm very much looking forward to reading these. So the first one is the actual from the 8 stack. And this is going to be the second book that I have read this year. And this is Ostara. And this is by, I think I wrote it down. I did write this one down. And this is by Carrie Connor. This is part of the Llewellyn's Sabbath series. This is a nonfiction novel. This cute little book. It is all about the holiday of Ostara, which is also the spring equinox. It has a lot kind of to do also with Easter. You can see the bunny and the egg. A lot of the modern Eastern celebrations that don't have their roots in Christianity. Pretty much everything, sadly. Except for the actual celebration of Easter and why Easter and Good Friday and Palm Sunday are being celebrated. But the other things that a lot of people might find odd to have considered part of the Easter celebration, being like I just said, bunnies and Easter eggs. What do those really have to do with the death and resurrection, of Jesus? So that's where a lot of those practices come from, is from this holiday, this fertility holiday within the neo-pagan or pagan calendar. So this is an ancient holiday, and these books are really cute. I read one last month, so it tells you in here like how it used to be celebrated way back when, and then to how people celebrate it now. And there are crafts and there are recipes and all kinds of things, and I am super excited to read it. I really enjoyed the first one in this series. The next one is Tangled in for something different. This is something that really, really does interest me and something I've been studying and practicing for quite some time. But yeah, so now back to the romance. The next one we have is Tangled in Texas by Carrie Lindell. This is the second book, I believe, in the Texas Rodeo series. The first book I enjoyed. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. And I have read, I think, the 4th or 5th book in this series. So I'm catching up to where I had read to. And essentially, exactly as the cover looks like, this is a story about a cowboy and his lady, and I'm not too sure what else, but I'm sure it's going to be delightful. And the last one from the Stacking the series is Chic's Scandal by Lucy Monroe. This is the first book in the Chatsfield series, and it's a Harlequin Presents book. This series, the Chatsfield, I think is what it's called. It's all about hotels, like the people who live in these very exclusive, or the family who own these very exclusive hotels, And each story takes place in, I think, a different city where one of these hotels will be. So, for example, if you think it's a bad comparison, and I think we're going to show my age because I don't know if she's done anything in the last 10 years, but like Paris Hilton, she is the heiress to the Hilton Empire or something like that. So this is almost the same idea. These people are heirs and heiresses, I guess, to this vast hotel empire. And this is their kind of, life and love and stuff like that. So should be good. These are relatively short. They're under 200 pages. Should be an easy book to finish. And I do have, hold on. And there's also, so the bulk of my TBR is actually being taken up by March Mystery Madness, which I've already kind of mentioned in passing. I did a full video on my March Mystery Madness TBR, and I'll leave that linked in the description box below. But I will go through it in just a minute, just in case you didn't see that video and you're just curious to find out what books I'm going to be reading. But also in March is middle grade March. And for the last few years, I keep saying I want to participate. And I always forget about it because I get so wrapped up in March Mystery Madness because I co-host it, or have been for the last few years. But there are two books that caught my eye last year that I really wanted to read. And I put them aside and put them on a special shelf on Goodreads so I wouldn't forget about them. And I'm going to be reading them both this month. So I'm reading two middle grade novels this month, and I'm so super excited. So the first one is called The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Gemminhart, I believe is how you say his name. This is about a young girl, I think she's about 10 years old, who a few years prior to the start of the book, I guess, her mother and sister or sisters die in a car accident. And her father obviously is having a very difficult time coming to terms with this. So he packs up, I think her name is actually Coyote, packs her up, and the two of them live out of like this small bus and travel across the country, across the U.S. And along the way, they pick up various cast of characters, if you will. And each one of these people that they meet, of course, teach them something about the grief and things like that. And it just sounds so delightful. The cover jumped out at me. I believe this was in the running for a Goodreads Choice Award last year, and I cannot wait to read it. It just looks delightful, so I'm super excited about it. And the other one, I think, is another one that I saw as part of the Goodreads Choice Awards. And this is Other Words for Home by Jessamine Warga, I believe is how you say her last name. It's about a young girl who comes to America from Syria, and her brother had already come over, I think, and her brother used to tell her all about how great America was. And when she comes over here, she realizes how very different it is, and how much of an outcast she feels, and how this is the first time she's hearing, the term Middle Eastern, and things like that. And it just sounds really, really interesting, and the cover looks delightful, and I'm super excited about reading this one too. The other reason I'm really happy about reading both of these is that my niece, while she does enjoy reading, she's not a huge reader. So I'm hoping if I read these and then I can say to her, hey, maybe you would like these ones too, kind of testing the waters to see if it was something that she would enjoy. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to both of these. I do have what I'm calling an extra book on my TBR this month. And this is one that essentially just doesn't fit into any category. I do categorize the books that I read every month, as you've seen, within the different places that I slot them, whether my Stacking the Series or a NetGalley reader, what have you. But I do have a bunch of books on hold at the library on audio. And a lot of them are like 14, 15 weeks out, so I'm not going to get to them till like way in the summertime. And they'll end up being extra books unless I can fit them into a spot. But this one just ended up being an extra book, and I can't believe it already came in. I think because I put a hold on it before it was even released. And that is Almost Just Friends by the great Jill Shalvis. This is the next book in the Wildstone series, which is a women's fiction series that she writes, as opposed to the normal contemporary romance novels that she writes. And I cannot wait to read this one. I actually had it in my hands at Walmart tonight, but I put it down. I'm like, the audiobook said it would be available soon. So I should have it within the next 2 weeks. So I will listen to it as soon as I can. But I super cannot wait to read it. It's going to be so, so good. And like I said, March Mystery Madness. So there are 9 prompts for March Mystery Madness. And March Mystery Madness is created by the lovely Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and Troy and Dee. And I will leave link to their channels in the description box below. I am one of the hosts. There's a whole bunch of them. Like I said, actually, I'll leave a link to Elizabeth's channel. And I'll also leave a link to, as I said, my TBR video, and then you can get all the information from that, so I don't overwhelm you guys with all the information in the description box. But I'm just going to quickly go through these. I'm actually not going to give you guys the prompts. I'm just going to share with you the books I'm going to be reading. Like I said, there are 9 prompts, but there's only 8 books I picked because the first prompt is to read 5 books, so that's pretty simple. So I will be reading from March Mystery Madness, Spells and Scones by Bailey Cates. This is book number 6 in a magical bakery mystery series. I will also be reading The Colton Marine by Lisa Childs, book number 5 in the Coltons of Shadow Creek series. The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. This is a thriller that I am so super excited about. The Girls Weekend by Jody Gurman. This comes out in June of 2020. So this is a NetGalley read for me. I do have this one from NetGalley. So I'm jumping it ahead of the pile just so I can read it. It's a thriller set obviously on a girls' weekend. Sounds fantastic. Cannot wait. We have Murder on Fifth Avenue by Victoria Thompson. This is a historical cozy mystery that I am very excited about. I've never read this author before and really looking forward to it. Pray for Silence by Linda Castellano. This is the second book in the Kate Burkholder series, and I read the first book last year for Amish in April. And side note, for anyone who's interested, Elizabeth and I have been talking. Amish in April is coming back next month in April, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I read the first book in this series for Amish in April last year, and it is a mystery thriller suspense set in Amish country. Excuse me. But our female lead, the detective, Kate Burkholder, is former Amish. So she left the church and is now the police chief, essentially, for this small town. And then I have The Summoning by Heather Graham. For those of you who've been watching for a while, you know I am a huge fan of this series. This is the Crew of Hunters series. This is book number 27 in this series. Came out last year. Cannot wait to read it. And then last but not least, I love the title of this, Gone with the Wool by Betty Henchman. This is book number 4 in a Yarn Retreat mystery series. This is a cozy mystery series that does revolve around crafts and crafting, and knitting especially. But yes, I cannot wait to read this one. So those are all the books that I plan on reading this month. Now, what I've been doing for the last few months with my Triple RC challenge, with my Romance Readers Reading Group challenge, is as the month goes on, I will kind of slot books in there that fit. So it used to be that I picked all the books for that, and then I became very overwhelmed with the amount of books I was reading. And again, especially because it's March Mystery Madness, and that's taking up a good chunk of my TBR. So all I'm going to do is kind of read off the prompts for you guys, and just so you can kind of get an idea of the kind of things that I picked, because again, I'm super thrilled that I'm hosting this, and that really I did get to pick all of these except for 4 of them. So 6 of these I actually had to create myself. The other 4, the prompt was given to me, but I had to figure out, like, the main idea was given to me and I had to figure out the prompts essentially. So the first one, this one was a given, and I didn't have to pick anything for this one. And it was Happy Birthday March. And it says, read a book published in March, or a book with light blue on the cover, or in honor of March's birthstone, the aquamarine, which is this stone right there, my engagement ring. Yes, my birthstone is my engagement ring. So that's the first one. The second one is the flower of the month is daffodil. The daffodil symbolizes new beginnings, prosperity, and good luck. Read a book that is first in a series or with a character who is considered wealthy. You can also read a book that you consider yourself lucky to get. For example, a hold came in at the library, or you purchased the book on sale. In the language of flowers, daffodils also symbolizes friendship, so you could read a book that features a group of friends. So that is the prompts that I picked for that. They gave me daffodil, I picked the prompts. And then same with the featured author challenge. They gave me the featured author. I had to pick the prompts. So the featured author for March is T.J. Klune, which is an author I am not familiar with. Read one book written by this author or by any author with his first or last name. So he is an LGBTQ author, and there is a link in the group to his books if you are interested in checking them out. Some of the other prompts that you could use are, you may also read a book that is shelved as LGBT, or a book that has won a literary award, because he has won a literary award. You can also read a YA novel or a novel shelved as contemporary or fantasy or paranormal. So very much looking forward to that. And now these are the ones that I had to pick and create and do all the things, and I'm so super thrilled. I'm patting myself on the back, you guys. And they asked me, they're like, if you want to do it again later this year, I'm like, yes, please. So I can definitely see myself, hosting this challenge again. Sorry, I need a little sip. March the 8th is International Working Women's Day. So the prompts for this one are, read a historical romance, preferably set in the late 1800s or early 1900s. You can also read a book where a character has a job in a skilled trade, a plumber, a carpenter, an electrician. You may also read a book that has a 19 or an 11 in the page count. So that one I'm looking forward to. Oh, I didn't tell you guys about it. It was originally held on March 19th, 1911. Category number 5. March the 10th is Middle Name Pride Day. Middle Name Pride Day honors the seldom used middle name that often sets you apart from others. It was selected with care, so you should be proud of it. Here's 2 big reasons to be proud of your middle name. First, there are plenty of John Smiths and Mary Jones. Second, your parents chose your middle name with great care. It often was selected in honor of a friend or a relative. This person may have possessed certain characteristics that they want you to inherit. Side note, my middle name is actually my mom's sister's middle name, and my aunt, my mom's sister, is my godmother. So that kind of worked out well. So the prompts for this are: read a novel where the author has 3 names. Initials can be counted as names. Or you can read a book by an author that has the same name as you, either first, middle, or last. You can also read a book where a main character shares your name. And that one, I already have the book picked out. It's going to be From Alaska with Love by Allie James, because the main character in that story's name is Sarah. So that worked out well. Category number 6, March the 12th. Popcorn Lovers Day. I mean, I could not put that on there. Popcorn to me is a food group. Many of us love popcorn, so it only makes sense that there should be a special day just for popcorn lovers. Popcorn is good for you when eaten plain, but not as healthy when it's loaded with salt and butter. It's so tasty. But all that butter and salt tastes so good. This day is intended to enjoy popcorn and share it with others. The day was created on January 6, 2012 by Bob Matthews of Rochester, New York. The prompts: read a book that has been, or you think should be, adapted into a movie or a TV show. Popcorn and movies make a great pairing. Or read a book set in New York State, or read a book that with a cover that pops your interpretation. I'm telling you guys, I had far too much fun with this. Prompt number 7. March the 20th is Proposal Day. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be a big, big day. It's Proposal Day. Valentine's Day last month came and went. He didn't or couldn't gather up the nerve to ask you. Along comes another day and another opportunity. For those in love, this could very well be the big day that changes your life. Prompts: read a book where the main couple is already married, or read a book where a wedding or a proposal takes place between any of the characters, or features a bride or groom on the cover. And again, this one I already know ahead of time what book it's going to be, and it's going to be A Cat Called Cupid by Tilly Tennant, because as I said earlier, our female lead is a wedding planner, so you know a wedding's going to definitely happen within that book. Number 8, March the 21st is National Quilting Day. And I grew up with both a mom and an aunt who were avid quilters. It was always a hobby I wanted to learn, but sadly, I'm all thumbs. So true. The National Quilting Association started National Quilting Day in 1991. Their numbers passed a restitution at the 22nd annual show in Lincoln, Nebraska in June 1991. Today is a day to recognize and appreciate the quilt makers, the skill and the warmth and the results. If you are a quilt maker, spend a minute to recognize and appreciate that you have truly been blessed with a special skill. If you are not a quilt maker, wrap yourself into a quilt and enjoy the warmth. So the prompts are: read a book that feature a hobby or takes place in a craft store, a quilt shop, a knitting shop, etc. You may also read a book that makes you feel cozy or that has cozy elements on the cover, or a book published in the 1990s. So that one was fun. And I have to admit, number 9 is probably my favorite. March 28th, make your own holiday day. Because why not? Today is your day to skip all the red tape, trespass all of the effort, and create a special day of any kind. Simply declare your special day on Make Your Own Holiday Day. I suggest call in sick to work day. So the prompts for this are: read a book that feature any holiday, or a book with a predominantly red cover, or read a book that you would love to curl up with, hiding from all the holiday hoopla. So the book, again, I already pre-picked this one, and it's going to be The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren, mainly because of that huge red heart on that cover. So I think it's going to be fantastic. And of course, category number 10 is Reader's Choice. Read any book of your choosing. That one is pre-picked, and that's what I had to put in there. So anyway, slightly longer video, you guys, but I love talking about these books with you. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them. Or are you going to join us for A, March Mystery Madness, or B, the romance read, the Triple RC for the month of March. The other thing I was going to mention is, if you guys have been watching me for a bit, you know that I am slowly reading through a lot of the books on my Harlequin shelf behind me. And for the month of March, I have decided, because how I usually pick them is I have all these books shelved on a shelf on Goodreads. And what I do is I randomize that shelf and I pick the next book that comes up at the top of the list. So what I'm going to be doing for the month of March for March Mystery Madness is when I randomize, I'm going to keep randomizing until I get either a Harlequin intrigue, a Harlequin romantic suspense, or a love-inspired romantic suspense. So that way it kind of keeps with the March Mystery Madness theme. But anyway, yes, that is all that I have for you guys today. Take care and happy reading. Thank you all so very much for watching. Bye, guys.